Every time this man shook someone's hand, that person would mysteriously die. Sure enough, the next day, while scouting through the woods, they found the body of the American soldier he had shaken hands with the night before, but the body had been there for at least a year. The story takes place on January 7, 1972, at a Vietnam War outpost. The South Korean troops on duty received a distress signal from Wild Mule Squad, a unit that had gone missing 6 months earlier. But when the commander told the only survivor of Wild Mule Squad about it, the man completely lost control. He insisted he had watched every member of his squad go down with his own eyes. Seeing that the soldier was clearly unstable, the commander still made the decision to send a 9-man team in for rescue. Before long, a transport boat dropped them off on the island. The squad had exactly 9 men, since they were all supposed to go home after this mission. Everyone suggested taking one picture together as a keepsake. After Wu finished taking the picture, and wanted someone else to take over, look closely at the man walking out to replace way behind the camera. Right now, there are exactly 9 people in the photo. So the question is, who was taking the picture? But at that moment, none of them realized there was already one extra person in the squad. Just like that, the team headed toward our point. They had not gone far before they were attacked by local Vietnamese forces. Facing heavy enemy fire, the captain stayed calm under pressure. While his men drew the fire, he circled around to the enemy's flank and ended the fight with one rocket shot. But when they moved in to check the area, they were stunned. There were only 2 thin women on the other side. How could just the 2 of them unleash that much firepower? The women stared at them with pure anger, then smiled in a way that sent chills down their spines. One soldier noticed the bells tied around a woman's wrist. The squad kept moving. Not long after, they found a strange stone deep in the jungle. There were Chinese characters carved into it. They read, "Those with blood on their hands." No one understood what it meant, so they decided to keep going. But none of them knew this was the beginning of their nightmare. Lee did not believe in any of it. He did not take the stone seriously at all. He even started peeing on it. And that made the last 2 characters finally appear. "Shall not return." Put together, the full message read, "Those with blood on their hands shall not return." It was also a warning about the squad's final fate. That night, the squad set up camp. 3 soldiers went into the grass to use the bathroom. 2 of them left early, just to scare Wu. Wu was so terrified, he yanked up his pants before he was even done. But the moment Wu turned around, there was suddenly one more person behind him. By daylight the next morning, the captain was trying to contact headquarters by radio. Then suddenly, he saw a strange building appearing through the fog in the distance. The building looked like a ghost in the mist, dark, cold, and mysterious. They carefully moved toward it. Soon, they entered the building. After searching every corner inside and out, they found no Vietnamese troops. It was just an abandoned building. The captain gathered everyone and gave out new orders. As it turned out, the 3-mile area around this building was our point. The locals considered it forbidden ground. Whether or not they found Wild Mule Squad, a helicopter would come pick them up in 7 days. So they split into 2 teams and began searching. That was when the strange events began. One soldier was taking a leak. When he turned around and realized all of his teammates were gone, he yelled out, telling them to stop messing around. But the area around him was dead silent. Then he saw a shadow flash past. Thinking it was one of his teammates, he quickly chased after it. When he looked up, several of his teammates were right in front of him. He finally let out a breath and hurried after them. He even complained that they should have waited for him, but his teammates acted like they could not hear him at all. They just kept walking forward. Suddenly, all of them crouched down. He thought they had spotted the enemy, so he quickly crouched down too. But after a long while, nothing happened. When he stood up again, he realized there was no one in the grass except him. This time, the soldier was completely shaken. Meanwhile, the captain received word that one of the search teams had gone missing. He immediately gathered the men and went out to look for them. Luckily, after searching for a while, they finally found the team. Inside a cave, they also found the soldier who had been scared out of his mind. After returning, the soldier frantically searched through everyone's helmets. He kept asking, "Didn't your helmet say wait for me?" But none of his teammates understood what he was talking about. Wu clearly did. He grabbed the soldier by the collar and demanded to know how he knew about that helmet. It turned out, the helmet the soldier was talking about belonged to Wu's friend, and that friend was one of the missing members of Wild Mule Squad. Just then, the sound of a helicopter came from outside. American soldiers had arrived to service the equipment. Once both sides realized they were allies, they finally lowered their guard. Apparently, the Americans came every 4 days to replace the batteries for the equipment on the 2nd floor. The captain also explained his squad's mission to the American soldier, but the soldier warned him that something was seriously wrong with this place. A lot of French soldiers had died here before, and it definitely was not the Vietnamese who did it. Then the American soldier mocked them, saying they would not last 4 days. Before leaving, he warned the captain not to touch the equipment on the 2nd floor. He also told him to get out while he still could. Otherwise, none of them would even get a grave. After that, the men disappeared into the night. Back inside, one of the soldiers fixed the radio. Everyone started dancing to the upbeat music. But suddenly, a terrifying sound came through the radio. The sound was strange, distorted, and deeply unsettling. That night was brutal for everyone. The captain kept replaying the sound from the radio, but he could not figure it out. When he looked out the window, he saw a woman in white standing on the grass. In the blink of an eye, she vanished without a trace. The next day, something even more terrifying happened. One of the soldiers was looking in a mirror on the stairs, when a large drop of black liquid fell onto it. Then a flood of black liquid poured down onto his face. A teammate's body was found hanging high from the rooftop. The scene was horrifying, but what truly made everyone's blood run cold was what headquarters said. When the captain reported Jones' death, one man was now gone, but there were still 9 men left in the squad. The problem was, they had started this mission with only 9 men. That meant, from the moment they stepped onto the island, a dead man had already slipped into their team. Everyone desperately tried to remember, but no one could recall the dead man's exact face. That was when it finally hit them. The person who took that group photo was the dead man who appeared out of nowhere. Fear quickly spread through the squad. The captain stared at the photo of 9 men and fell into deep thought. At the same time, Wu, who was on guard duty, was pulled into a painful memory. Before Wild Mule Squad had left, the dead man had given Wu a camera. It was supposed to be a gift for his daughter. He asked Wu to keep it safe for him, but Wu got greedy and kept the camera for himself. The guilt was eating him alive. He believed the dead man's spirit had come back to collect what was owed. Late that night, the captain was about to rest when the sound of bells came from outside the window. When he turned around, he saw the woman in white again. This time, he worked up the courage and followed her closely with a flashlight. Soon, the captain followed the woman to a statue. Only then did he realize the ground beneath his feet was covered in graves. Buried there were the dead French soldiers the American soldier had mentioned before. On one of the tombstones, the captain once again saw that familiar string of bells. At the same time, a sleepy Wu noticed that Wang was playing with his camera. Wu snatched it back immediately, but when he lifted his teammate's helmet, he realized the person sitting across from him was not Wang at all. It was the spirit of the man who had trusted him with the camera. Terrified, Wu ran blindly in a panic and ended up in a minefield. The explosion caught everyone's attention. By the time the others arrived, Wu had already stopped breathing in terror, and on his helmet, 2 bells were hanging in plain sight. The strange deaths one after another pushed the remaining soldiers close to breaking. One man insisted there were ghosts in this place, but hot-tempered Lieutenant Chen beat him down for saying it. The truth was, Chen himself was scared out of his mind too. Even the captain's confidence started to crack. The next day, to stay safe, the captain ordered every patrol team to report their location every 30 minutes, but after wandering around for half the day, the team led by the captain somehow ended up back at the stone tablet. Soon, they made an even more disturbing discovery. Deep in the woods, they found a crashed American helicopter. It had been there for at least a year. Next to it was a dried-up body. When the captain looked closer, he was scared stiff. The body was the same American soldier who had shaken his hand a few days earlier. Only then did they realize the men who appeared before them that night were never human. Meanwhile, another team was crossing a pond when one soldier tripped over something under the water. His eyes instantly went wide. There was a rotting body lying in the water. As the view pulled back, the water underneath was packed with bodies. They were all the members of Wild Mule Squad, the very men they had been sent to find. On the other side, Lieutenant Chen was searching a cave when he saw something shocking. A soldier was kneeling in front of a radio, calling for help over and over, and the message he was sending was the exact distress signal they had received at the start. Chen stepped forward and reached out, but when he touched the man, he realized it was only a skeleton. Fear and hallucinations completely destroyed the soldier's sanity. One soldier insisted he saw a ghost and started firing wildly in one direction, but he accidentally took down the teammate who had come running over. By this point, the 9-man squad had already lost several people. Everyone finally understood just how cursed this place really was. They rushed to the second floor and broke into the room they had been warned never to enter, but the room was covered in dust and spiderwebs. It did not look like anyone had been servicing it regularly at all. Only now did they realize something was very wrong. The captain immediately contacted headquarters and requested an emergency extraction, but headquarters said the heavy night fog made flying impossible. The earliest pickup would be 5 o'clock the next morning. That meant they had to survive the longest and most terrifying night of their lives. Just then, a loud banging came from outside the door. Everyone immediately went on high alert. When they heard Lieutenant Chen's voice, they finally relaxed, but the captain sensed something was wrong. He shouted for them not to open the door, but one soldier ignored the warning and opened it anyway. Lieutenant Chen walked in with a blank face. In his hands, he held the radio that had been sending the distress signal and a human skull. The captain did not believe the man in front of him was still Lieutenant Chen. He ordered him to state his name and serial number. When Chen answered perfectly, the captain finally lowered his guard. But in the next second, Chen suddenly raised his weapon and attacked a teammate right in front of him. With no other choice, the captain had to take him down. Sure enough, Lieutenant Chen had been possessed. Then another soldier fell into a hallucination. He did not snap out of it until the captain shouted at him. After that, the captain ordered everyone to state their name and serial number one by one. But when it was the last soldier's turn, his eyes went blank. Then he suddenly pulled the pin on a grenade. The captain tried to stop him, but it was too late. The grenade went off. Rookie Private Bai's eyes were badly injured in the blast. In the chaos, Private Kai was manipulated by an illusion and turned on another teammate. The enraged captain completely lost control and went after Kai in return. Now, the only people left in the hall were the captain and the blinded rookie, Private Bai. That was when the captain found something on Bai. It was an old photo they had discovered earlier inside a box. The woman in white in the photo was the same woman they had shot at the very beginning. Then the bells rang again. The captain instantly became alert, but the woman in white was already standing quietly behind him. The ghostly woman in white moved closer step by step. The captain tried to fight back, but the knife in his hand felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. No matter how hard he tried, he could not lift it. At last, he understood. The curse carved into the stone tablet was real. Those with blood on their hands shall not return. As a veteran, whose hands were covered in enemy blood, he was never meant to leave this place. But Bai was different. He was a rookie, who had not yet taken anyone's life on the battlefield. He was the only one who still had a chance to survive. The woman in white suddenly turned terrifying. In the end, Bai fired the shot, and the captain's transformation finally stopped. In the end, Private Bai was the only survivor of the squad. The next morning, sunlight poured into the hall, but the strange part was, besides the surviving rookie Bai, there was no trace of anyone else. All the soldiers' bodies, and even the bloodstains, had vanished without a trace. It was as if everything from the night before had only been a nightmare. A moment later, the rescue helicopter arrived. The mentally shattered Bai was successfully taken away. The other 8 men had mysteriously disappeared, but the abandoned radio at Artpoint sent out another distress signal. This time, the voice belonged to the captain, who had just died. That meant a new cycle of the curse was about to begin. Maybe Bai could tell the truth, but in everyone else's eyes, he was just a soldier broken by war, rambling nonsense that no one would believe, just like the only survivor of Wild Mule Squad before him. And that is where the movie ends. What truly trapped them was never just that haunted high ground, it was the guilt that each of them could never let go of. The scariest part of war is not just that people fall, it is that the ones who survive may spend the rest of their lives carrying the darkness with them. Surviving does not mean you won, but if you can still choose to value life after all that pain, then maybe, just maybe, you have truly found your way out of the fog.